Ready to walk and talk?
What are we talking about?
We're just it's scenic setting.
Can
you be less little?
No, I'm asking. I was told to shut up because I ruined too much of the show earlier. So I'm like, what am I allowed to talk about?
Can you sack up and just give me some scenic B-roll
I'm fully
here?
sacked.
Okay. I have to do everything around here. I swear to God. Okay.
Well, Kevin, the keynote just wrapped up here at I/O 2026. What did you think?
Yes, this is like the Coachella of capitalism, the Warped Tour of the web, the Lollapalooza of links. I can keep going.
Please don't.
And they are doing a lot. We heard about everything from like agentic search to these new like video editing models and products that they have, all the way to Demis Hassabis at the end of the keynote declaring that we are in the foothills of the singularity.
When we look back at this time, I think we will realize that we were standing in the foothills of the singularity.
Quite a kicker.
Yeah, and that puts us on pace by I/O 2027 to be at the base camp of the singularity.
Yes. I love that like Google's version of the Steve Jobs like one more thing is like one more thing, the singularity. A great way to end. So yeah, what was your standout? What did they announce that caught your eye?
I mean, they have said that they just made the biggest change to search in 25 years. I think time will tell if that is truly as significant a change as they're suggesting, because when we saw it in the demos, it just looked like the box grows if you type more into it. But, you know, they're also saying that by this summer, they're going to be generating custom user interfaces based on your query and a bunch of other stuff. I think like a through line through everything that they discussed here was coming this summer or coming to a group of trusted testers. And with these kind of like productivity tools, until they're in your hands, you don't really know if anything has changed in your life or not.
Yeah, there was a lot of focus on agentic stuff, like agentic coding. They have this new agentic search mode, which basically is sort of the fancy upgrade to Google Alerts. You can have it sort of tell you when there's like a new home listed on Zillow or a new baseball score you might care about or something like that. I was really interested that they seem to be betting very big on cost and speed. So their new model that they talked about today was Gemini 3.5 Flash, which is the newest version, but it's also, they say, 4 times faster and much cheaper than the other leading frontier models. And so I think Google's strategy of kind of betting on scale and distribution and like making their models as efficient to serve as possible is really the direction they're going in. Like they don't seem to care about having the absolute most cutting edge models as long as they can serve them cheaply and quickly to billions of people.
I mean, I think they care about it. I think that they just haven't built it yet. You know, fast and cheap is what you talk about when it isn't the best. And so that's what we're getting this year. But, you know, I am interested in trying these new agents. I'll say I tried to use the new agent. I said, let me know if Kevin Roose writes a good story, but it hasn't sent me anything. And so I don't know if it's broken or if the AI isn't working or what.
Yeah, I'm writing good stories constantly, so something must be going on.
I mean, my real curiosity is like, which of these agents are going to find true product market fit? Like, which is the agent that is going to get 1 billion users? Because we saw them show off what is effectively their version of OpenClaw, which definitely like had a big moment earlier this year, but it's still not clear to me that that is an actual mainstream use case. Like, I have to say, like, of everything they showed off, like, I'm not like dying to like have, you know, Gemini OpenClaw working overnight on my behalf because I don't know what I would ask it to do.
Yeah, I think that was actually one of my favorite parts because I am currently running a Claude swarm on my open laptop.
Doing what? What is it doing?
And what they have said is that you can now do that through Gemini Spark, this new agent thing, and it will run in like a virtual machine on the cloud, so you don't have to like keep your laptop cracked like an insane
But
person.
Kevin, please, what are you doing with your
I can't
plot
tell
twist?
you.
You can't even, because you're not doing anything.
I'm ushering in the singularity.
You're generating recipes.
I'm building a bioweapon, but I don't want to say that in this crowd.
They get sensitive about that sort of thing around here.
Yes. So what was the vibe of I.O. this year?
I mean, I honestly, the only people that I have talked to are like reporters and people who work at Google. So like, I feel like we have not really had a chance yet to talk to developers and see what is on their minds. Clearly, they have a lot of new toys to play with, and I'm sure they're excited about that. But, you know, as I said, until you get your hands on them, you don't really know if your life has changed.
Yeah, I feel like they have confidence in their sort of place in the front of the pack. I don't think they believe that their models are the best in the world yet, but if they're cheaper and faster and they can do more stuff, they have this new Omni model that can take in video as well as images and text. So I feel like they're sort of doing the spray and pray approach to AI development, which is you just do everything everywhere all at once and hope that something hits. And it's worked for them.
Yeah, and I guess I will say one thing about the vibe here at I.O. this morning, Kevin, which is this is the only recent gathering of a large number of people where mentions of AI did not produce a large chorus of boos. This was a crowd where people actually seemed like they wanted to hear about new AI developments, and as we saw, many AI-generated images and videos over almost 2 hours, there was nary a boo to be heard.
I agree. Not a lot of mention of the AI backlash or any of the things. I think they're just sort of hoping that these new products are so useful to people that they'll sort of forget about all their objections. And then, you know, of course, comes Demis Hassabis to talk about the singularity, just to remind you that none of this is normal, that we are experiencing something very weird.
All right, well, I think those are some good early thoughts. We have a lot more to do at I.O., starting with probably hitting that lunch line in the press tent.
I saw some ube croissants on my way in. I'm still trying to figure out what that means, but I'm going to go try it out.
Perfect. All right, Kevin. Well, we are back in the studio the day after I.O., and we have a few hours before we head back down to interview Sundar Pichai. But before we do that, you have spent a little bit of time playing around with this new Gemini 3.5 Flash model. So what have you been doing with it?
So I did try to use anti-gravity, their kind of coding assistant, to put the model through some of my own evaluations, and it seems like two things are true. One is it's very fast. It's very fast, and you don't hit your sort of token limits at all, like very quickly, which is a nice contrast to some of the other coding models that I've used. And the second thing is that it just doesn't seem like that much of an improvement over what is out there now. I think, you know, there have been some people on my feeds talking about how they are feeling disappointed by the new Gemini model. There's some indications that it's maybe not as good as Gemini 3.1 Pro at some coding evaluations, but it is much faster. And I think the other thing that people are reacting to is the cost. So the cost of Gemini 3.5 Flash, while lower than other kind of frontier models, is significantly more expensive than the last version of Gemini Flash. So people are upset about that. But I think in general, my sense is like, it's a good model. It's a pretty good model. It's not like blowing me away, but it is quite fast. And if you are a company that's burning, you know, billions of tokens a day, you might be interested in that. But for the average person, I would say like nothing about it has made me want to switch to it as my daily driver yet.
Yeah, I have to say, like, this class of models has always just felt like it's not for me, right? Like, I am somebody who is always willing to wait a little bit longer and to spend a little bit more to get the best answer, right? Like, I would sort of rather do that than just sort of have, like, instant answers from a very cheap model.
You like to surround yourself with kind of awe-inspiring intelligence,
yes,
right?
That's exactly right.
Which is why we're hosting this podcast together.
That's exactly right. And so, I mean, look, I think for a very wide variety
variety of use cases, a model like this is going to be perfectly fine. If you're, the average Gemini user and you're just trying to pass 6th grade for free, I think this model is going to be a lot of help. But, the sort of more vocal AI power user crowd, which are the people that you're going to find on social media sort of putting these models through their paces on day one, does seem to be a little disappointed here. And I do think it's notable that a model that was sold to us yesterday largely on the strength of its low price does not actually seem to be as cheap as maybe we were told.
Yeah, and I think part of this is just that the cycle of kind of I/O and developer conferences is maybe out of step with how these models are actually being built. I've been hearing some whispers from folks at Google that they are working on something that is more powerful, but that it just may not have been ready in time for I/O this year. So I think that's one tricky thing about doing these conferences once a year is kind of every deadline has to line up at exactly the same time, or else you end up looking like you're behind.
Yeah, I think the real test for Google, at least the next real test for Google, will come next month when it puts out 3.5 Pro, which I think will sort of be at a similar class of the frontier models that we have today. And that's when I'm going to sort of be putting the model through all of its paces and trying to figure out, okay, like what part of my daily workflows might this kind of thing slot into?
Yeah. All right, Casey, what is your verdict on I/O? Did it meet your expectations?
It felt like a base hit to me. I think that if they ship everything that they showed off and it works basically as advertised, I think that there is some good stuff in there. I don't think that there was a single product that made me think, if I can't use this today, I will be in extreme physical distress. But yeah, overall, I thought, solid set of announcements. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that basically meets my expectations. I talked to one reporter who was walking around at I/O and who said it was mid, sort of it's good. It's good. It's a better position than they were in a couple years ago at I/O when they were basically scrambling to get Bard out the door and everything looked like it was going sideways. So they found their footing, but it is still not clear whether they are producing a model that will truly be state of the art.
Mm.
All right, so that is some more of our thoughts and early hands-on impressions of Gemini 3.5 Flash. Now let's head down to Google to talk to Sundar.
Okay. Are you driving?
I thought we were going to take a Waymo.
Okay.